Susan with the Taleless Dog Booksellers in Berea, Kentucky, and you're watching episode number 2 of Conversations Unleashed. Tonight, we're lucky enough to be back in the kitchen with Jan Brandenburg. Jan is a local Berean and also a brand new author of the cookbook titled
The Modern Mountain Cookbook, a plant-based celebration of Appalachia.
And it is a vegan cookbook. So if you were lucky enough to be here on our last episode, you saw us making chocolate chip cookies, which were amazing. And then tonight we're making a recipe that is meat-based and seems to me, anyway, to be a little bit more complicated, not from your standpoint in the kitchen, because Jan's going to simplify it and make it super easy.
Super easy.
Super easy. But from the aspect of having to take a major ingredient and find a substitute for it, which is probably difficult enough as it is, but then to make the recipe taste good. And that's gotta be the hardest part of that whole process. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that and how you come up with your recipes. So first, thank you for having us back into your home tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
All the hundreds of listeners and people who are watching YouTube tonight. And it's a lot of people in your kitchen.
Well, the more the merrier.
All right. Well, so tell us what was the recipe tonight?
The recipe is traditional sausage balls. Probably the most popular one is like the old Bisquick recipe. And so I developed this because I was manager of a retail pharmacy for years, and I always tried to have a holiday gathering for us. Well, my son and his girlfriend every year got drafted to assist in preparations and in serving all the guests because it was a lot for one person. So I thought, what would he like that I could make that, isn't what I'm serving, basically.
Uh-huh.
And so this recipe makes about 40 to 45 sausage balls.
Wow,
and
that's a lot. That'll serve.
I thought that he would have a lot. He got 2.
Because everybody
really liked them. I thought that they would go for the pasta dish, but they really like the sausage balls. It also has a maple mustard sauce, and people really love that.
Okay. Do you have anybody a little squeamish about, that's supposed to be sausage and it's not sausage?
Occasionally I will have somebody, but most of the time people are because presentation is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they look good. And if they will give them a try, they taste good. So you hear a lot of that about vegans and the blowback,
Mm-hmm.
but that has not been my experience. What I do is invite people over if they want to try something, they're welcome to try it, but I really don't have a lot of people who are that squeamish about at least giving it a try, because when you see the presentation, it just is not off-putting.
And you find that most people are open-minded about it.
Most people that I come in contact really are. They're curious.
Now, one thing that you did say last week that I want to touch on this week just a little bit is, after being a vegan for how many years?
I think it was 2006.
Okay. You've learned which brands are good and which brands are not so good. So having had you saying that makes me think that there are some brands out there that are probably not great. That's so true. So I guess that's no different than any other food.
No. And when we go through the recipe, I will hold up the brands so that you do know. I do definitely have my favorite brands of things.
Well, good. And we'll want to hear that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to pack up Josie and head to the kitchen, and we'll see you back in just a second.
So we've got unbleached white flour and baking powder. Here are our spices. We just got salt, pepper, cayenne, and the cheese I grate up. This is my preferred brand of cheese, and it's the Diabloc, and I like it because of the texture. I grate it myself, and I also like to grate it really fine. So if you get the pre-grated cheese, it will work just fine, but it also is a little bit bulkier. So if you do use the pre-grated cheese, I would chop it up a little bit finer. You have 1 onion that needs to be chopped. I like the Impossible sausage. There's another brand called Gimme Lean that does just as well, but this is the brand that's available, so that's what I got. And then butter, and I tend to use Earth Balance unless, I tend to use Earth Balance for cooking, so let's put it that way. And then the fresh parsley, which I pre-chopped. And pre-mix the spices, so we will just come over and start to assemble the ingredients. Josie is making noise because she wants to be fed. And then we mix in our spices into the flour. In a minute.
She's very demanding.
She is very demanding. I don't know why she has chosen this time to do that, but. So we have our flour and spice mixture. We're going to stir in the shredded cheese, and that looks like a lot. It's just because I've shredded it. It's really just this size block. It's because I've shredded it really fine, and it tends to be kind of fluffy. So we stir all that together so that the flour can kind of coat your cheese. And then we are going to mix in our sausage. And this is why I have the gloves. And onion.
So can you tell us what the sausage is?
What plant-based protein it is?
Uh-huh.
It's a soy sausage.
Okay.
And that's what Gimme Lean is also.
Are there others out there? Are there other options, or is that?
There are not that many out there that are not already in the patties. And if you get in a pinch and you can only find the patties, you can just let them thaw out and mash them together, and they will work fine too. So then we're going to put in our parsley and a couple of tablespoons of butter, which I have melted on my stove because I do not have a microwave, oddly. But, you know, stove works just fine.
Does Josie know about sausage balls? Because she acts like she knows about sausage balls.
She knows about a lot of people. She is my constant observer. So we're just going to mix these all up. And you do want to make sure that you get it to a uniform consistency, and it takes just a few minutes. Okay, almost finished. We're just going to place small balls. Just roll it up. Put them on your baking sheet. Again, I do use the parchment paper because I like to keep my pans a little bit shiny, and it makes cleanup so much easier. You can use that up to 425 degrees. These bake at 400 degrees. Every single week. So the chocolate chip cookies, of course, are one of them. The other thing is I always have beer cheese, and I make homemade rosemary bread every single week. I'm going to pop it in the oven. In the meantime, we will make the maple mustard sauce. Most of the sauces that are for the sausage balls are honey mustard, but my favorite replacement for that is maple syrup, or I do like sorghum a lot too, but in this case the maple syrup worked out great, so that's what I've used. I like the Country Dijon. So you want them just lightly brown. Josie.
You said the recipe makes how many?
40 to 45 sausages.
40 to 45.
And not that I think this is going to be an issue for anybody, but if they have any left over,
Yeah,
how
you
long
can
can
store
they?
them. You can store them in the fridge for about 3 days, and you can also reheat them. Just put them in some foil, pop them back in the oven. They reheat
Oh,
very
okay.
nicely.
All right, they won't get like hard or.
They don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those are amazing, and I think this is a really good example of veganizing a recipe that is really traditionally meat-based.
True.
And there's no missing the meat here. It has all the flavor of your traditional sausage ball, and I betcha you could probably do this and your family would never even know it.
Probably not.
Well, thank you all for coming and being part of this recipe again. And if you love this video, then please subscribe to our channel. There will be more videos like this in the future, and we'll definitely be having Jane back for another recipe. And we should also tell people that your book is available on March 18th.
That's correct.
And that we are having an event for the launch of your book on March 22nd at 2 o'clock at the Taleless Dog. And we might have, I don't know if we're gonna have sausage balls, but we will definitely have things for you to sample at that event. So put that on your calendar and come back and check out the channel soon. Thanks.